الناس والدواب والأنعام مختلف ألوانه. Just by looking at them, you will come to see the diversity in this universe. You come to pay attention to how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has meticulously have created this. Based on which mechanism. Then someone will come tell you, no, all of this has happened, by arbitrary chance, just by pure chance. By pure chance. If you take the law of physics and put them next to each other, and the findings that the scientists have found, then they should pay attention that what they are saying is completely bogus. It's not true. Here, we have in the physics, we have a third law called the third law of physics. What is this law? I will briefly tell you. It is called the law of entropy. Law of entropy describes the randomness in this universe. Tells you that this universe is moving toward chaos, toward randomness. I will give you a few examples. The molecules, we are all made from molecules. Those molecules tend to be chaotic, moving in all directions. If I have a spray, let's say a perfume, and I spray the perfume, after a while those people who are sitting at the end of the room will smell that perfume. Why? Because the molecules start to randomize and go in every direction. But have you seen that the perfume gets all collected in one bottle? It doesn't happen. When you spray it, it all gets scattered, but it never gets collected to its organized way. I give you another example. Imagine I have a glass cup in my hand. If I leave this glass cup and fills on the ground, it breaks, right? It shatters into pieces. Now, if I grab those pieces all together, collect them, and again throw them in the air, do they all become all one cup? No. Why? Because they defy the third law of physics. The physics tells you that energy and matter is neither destroyed nor created. Rather, they change from aspect to aspect. But this law tells you that always the matter and energy goes into its disorder by nature. When you throw this cup, it all breaks. That's why you see it is easier to demolish a home than to build a home. Why? Because you have many features of disorder. Once you hit the home, it gets demolished in different ways. But in order to build it, you have to build it only in one way. Of so many pictures, you only built it in one way, right? Therefore, you see it is so difficult. So this nature, according to the law of physics, is going into disarray, is going into disorder. You say that's fine. What is the other finding that they have found? They have found that this universe has been created through a big bang 14 billion years ago. And this is a finding, of course this is a theory they are studying. And they say so far we have not seen anything to defy it. Okay? This universe was all in a massive compact matter, and all of a sudden has exploded. Now keep in mind the third law of physics. And keep in mind that this explosion has happened. When you explode something, do things go into more disorder or they go into order? Which one? Shouldn't they go into disorder? Then how come we end up to see the solar system in this way, the galaxies in this way, and in such nice and a beautiful way, the moon revolves around the earth revolves around the sun, in this beautiful and very intricate way. Do we call that disorder or we call that an order? If that's an order and things has happened by themselves, then that defies the third law of thermodynamics, the third law of physics. It has to be somebody who had done this explosion and at the same time has kept everything in check. For example, you want to do a remodeling to your home. You put all explosives in your home. For example, you want to make an extension, build a small room, a toilet, an additional toilet. You put all those explosives around the home and then you explode the home. When you explode it, all of a sudden you see that your home is starting to have a beautiful bathroom here, a nice little room here, and everything is set. The furniture is all sitting, around the room, and everything is fine. That's what they are saying. Does that make sense? Of course not. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, go pay attention. Look, search. When you see the diversity of Allah, At that, when you see the diversity of nature, at that time you recognize that someone has created them. That somebody has made them. They're all connected. One day, a man came to Imam al-Sadiq. Look at this beautiful story. He came and asked, this has happened 1400 years ago. He told the Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, told him, Ibn Rasulullah, we have difficulty finding the animals who lay egg versus those who give birth. Is there a way to find those, differentiate between those two? That had been said 1400 years ago. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam told him, look at their ears. If the ears are internal, meaning within the head, then they lay egg. If the ear is external, then they give birth. This law has have been said 1400 years ago, and now the ulama, the scientists, recently they tell you, yeah, this is the way, and this has been taught in zoology, in taxonomy, when they want to differentiate between the egg-laying animals versus the childbearing animals. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, 1400, where did he get his knowledge? Who has told him this knowledge? Was he a biologist? Shouldn't be from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, look at the diversity in this universe. And then afterwards says, إِنَّمَا يَخْشَى اللَّهِ مِنْ عِبَادِهِ الْعُلَمَاءِ. The ones who fear Allah, the one who pay attention are the ulama, the scholars. Someone, even if he is scholars and tell you God does not X, make sure that this guy is ignorant. Jahiliyyah. What is Jahiliyyah? Jahiliyyah doesn't mean that I don't know things. Jahiliyyah is not a state, brothers and sisters. It's an attitude. Meaning that I am presented with the proof, yet I reject it. This is called Jahiliyyah. But the fact that I don't know about it, that doesn't mean Jahiliyyah. There are millions of things in this universe that we have no idea about it. But we're not called Jahiliyyah. Jahiliyyah, when you present things and he rejects it. So even if he's a Nobel Prize winner, sometimes he can be a Jahili. He can be an ignorant. Why? Because he does not meditate. Remember when we talked about Quran? We said that the purpose is to have meditation, tadabbur. When you read the ayah, you come up with a conclusion. So when he finds out, he studied, but yet he cannot come up with a conclusion, meaning he's jahil. That's what happened when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala talks about those people whose Torah have been given to them. He said, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ حُمِّلُوا التَّوْرَاةِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَحْمِلُوهَا كَمَثَلِ الْحِمَارِ يَحْمِلُ أَسْفَارًا. No matter how much knowledge you give them, but they're like a donkey. The donkey who grabs the loads of the books and just put it on his shoulder. Without really meditating, without really understanding. The alim is the one who, by seeing at the signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, pay attention to the Lord, can see the greatness of Lord. That's Ali ibn Abi Talib alayhi salam in dua al-iftitah, has in dua al-sabah, very elegant dua. He says, Ya man dalla ala dhatihi bidhatih, wa tanazzaha an mujanasati makhluqatih, وجل عن ملائمة كيفياته يا من قرب لخطرات الظنون وبعد عن لحظات العيون وعلم بما كان قبل أن يكون. This guy is considered to be a scientist, a scholar. Why? By looking at the science, he pays attention about the greatness of Allah. He realized what's the person who has created, the entity that has created this universe has to be a great person. And Islam always emphasizes on knowledge. But before knowledge, tells you have to have tazkiyah. Tazkiyah meaning purification. Purification of what? Of this mind. Meaning remove the dust that sits on the mind. Therefore, in Surah Al-Jum'ah, it says, هُوَ الَّذِي بَعَثَ فِي الْأُمِّيِّينَ رَسُولًا مِّنْهُمْ. The first thing that he does, يُزَكِّيهِمْ وَيُعَلِّمُهُمُ الْكِتَابَ وَالْحِكْمَةِ. Number one, purity. Purity means what? Cleansing. Cleansing of what? Of the dust that sits on the brain. Clean it, have a clean heart and a clean brain. At that time, get the knowledge. Once you get the knowledge, then you pay attention to the greatness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. By just getting knowledge more and more, without thinking behind this knowledge, it makes us even more arrogant, more ignorant. That's why you see so many having this arrogance in their mind, in their attitude. Look at a human being. The first thing that he got in his knowledge when he created the bomb, what did he do? He started using those bombs. Allah has given him wisdom and knowledge to utilize it for his advantage. He goes and creates the nuclear bomb and uses it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the more punishment he does, but he's completely oblivious and doesn't recognize it. Look at how many sicknesses we get throughout history. From cancer to tuberculosis to AIDS to bird flu, swine flu. But does a human realize this? No. He becomes more and more arrogant. Why? Because still he doesn't have the ability to meditate and to realize the sign of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. نسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يوفقنا لما يحب ويرضى ويوفقنا لصيام هذا الشهر الشريف ولقيامه ولتلاوة كتابه. اللهم اغفر للمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات. تابع بيننا وبينهم بالخيرات. إنك مجيب الدعوات. إنك قاضي الحاجات. إنك على كل شيء قدير. وصلى الله على محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين.